Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Klein Connect here, as usual. And, of course, as usual, head coach Scott Langer is joining me. Coach, a split on the weekend over there in St. Cloud. Kind of get things rolling again with, after home games against Bismarck. You head out on the road and a 4-3 overtime win. You go up 2-0, things are looking good, and they come back and have a couple of quick bang goals, and then end up taking the lead. But you guys, like we talk about, the tenacity and the stick-to-itiveness that it takes, and showed a lot of potential, a lot of promise there. You end up coming back and then winning it in overtime with the real thriller. Heck of a pass from Lindsay onto Tishkevich for that game winner on Friday night. We talked pregame before Saturday, and we'll get to Saturday in just a moment, but overall as a staff Friday, you gotta, and you've said this, I don't know, 100 times, road wins don't have to be pretty. A win is a win, and you gotta like the way things went there.
Yeah, I think with how things are going right now, you have to take the positive and leave the negative be. Obviously we came out and got ahead of them and then found ourselves behind. So I think the positive there is that, we found a way to come back, utilizing specialty teams to put us back in the game. And then obviously the big goal by Tishkevich, and, it was positive. You got to take those 2 points. You're on the road. And, I'm just looking at the positive in that game. I'm not going to focus on the negative. Obviously, we have things to work on, but we haven't ended up salvaging 2 points. Yeah,
for sure, and we'll get to that. Saturday ends up unfortunately being a 4-0 loss, and honestly, over the weekend, they outshot you guys in a pretty dramatic fashion. Like honestly, the stats I keep versus the stats the league keeps versus whatever. Either way, it was pretty lopsided. On Saturday, there were some things. Obviously, again, we talked about the penalties that you guys had to kill off in the second period on Friday night, but then it kind of happened again on Saturday night. You have a lot of penalties to kill, which is obviously going to put you on the defense and not let you get those shots on goal and so on. That's certainly a factor. But over the weekend, again, as a staff, you look at it and go, well, what did you do right? What did you do wrong? You said, you want to focus on the positives, certainly, but there are definitely things to learn from these, aren't there?
You got to learn how to win. We're doing things now that are equaling a lot of non-success. We've talked about it. It's not X's and O's all the time that win hockey games. There's some mental fortitude that goes into it as well, and compete. And I could throw a bunch of words at you that you hear every day in sports, but the bottom line is you need to compete. If you really want to be a winner, if you really want to go to school, if you really want to represent the Wings, then you're going to play the right way all the time. And it doesn't matter if the result is a loss, but you're going to outplay them even though you lost. And that's not what we're getting right now.
Yeah. Interesting though, because I feel like as this group, not only from a talent like we talked about last week, clearly there's potential there, and you're seeing it. You can see the skill level that they have, and the everything that's there, and they're asking questions. Like I hear them talking, and they're going over things. They want to make sure that it's right and that they're making the right moves and so on. So what, from a teaching standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, what's the next move? Like how do you guys when you see that they're maybe at some level anyway, they aren't, following through with what you guys are teaching? What's your next step?
You're figuring out if they're capable.
Yeah.
Winners win. Said it my whole career. You find a way. Whether you cheat, whether you scratch, you claw, you find a way to win the game. And you're not going to win them all, but you're going to win a lot more than you wouldn't win if you go out with that mentality. And right now we do have a lot of talent and a lot of good pieces, but it's not equaling good hockey. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me what our identity was today, I would have a hard time explaining that. So obviously from the coach's side, and Eric and I, that we need to help establish an identity with this group of guys and get them to see what winning looks like on a consistent basis, and maybe not just winning, but how to compete day in, day out. Junior hockey's hard. It's a hard way. You're going 7 days a week for 9 months. I get it. It's hard, but like I told the guys today, you could be in school right now in college. You could be a sophomore or freshman in college having a grind, but you're not. You're getting the opportunity to be a junior hockey player in a first-class town with first-class ownership and a first-class franchise. And we have a pretty big bar we have to meet, and that's why come Monday morning when we do get outplayed, it's a pretty sour taste and it's a hard drive to the rink. But you know what? The good news is that we have an opportunity to fix those mistakes heading into Minot.
Without a doubt. It's interesting because, like you said, I mean, I don't know that a lot of people understand. I shouldn't say that because I think people do, especially fans. They understand what is all involved, but I think the casual fan may not really understand the level that this play is at. This isn't some rec league stuff. This is, these guys, they're dedicated, and like you said, 7 days a week, 9 months out of the year, you have to make a decision. But as far as identity goes, is it early? Because I know you and I, over the years, we've talked about the identity of your hockey teams. And generally speaking, they all kind of become the same thing, and they are hardworking. It is work ethic. It is all these things. But, here we are 3 weeks into the season. Do you feel like, there's still time to learn and grow from this? Or?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it is early, but you never want to be outplayed. That's right. The bottom line. Like, figure out a way to stay in the fight, stay in the battle, give yourself a chance. That's all we should ask for every day of ourselves. And our team's going to form, and you're going to see our identity emerge. The question is, how long does that take?
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of patience because when I go out and I recruit guys that are highly capable of doing all the things that we want to see here. So I don't want to see them fall short. They need to uphold their end of the bargain when it comes to working within our identity. But we have work to do. Eric and I have a lot of work to do, and obviously the heat's on a little bit because we want to win, and we're expected to win, and we're going to do everything we can to win.
Well, you talked about, obviously a mentality standpoint, not so much X's and O's, but from an X's and O's standpoint, when you look at schematics and all that kind of stuff, did you guys see anything that was working or wasn't working that you need to kind of tweak a little bit aside from the emotional or mental characteristics?
Well, I mean, in the first night, penalties were the issue. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, that's why the shots were so much in favor of them, was the amount of power plays we handed them. And the second night, if you go back and you review those goals, our goaltending had even some of the saves he had no business making them. We totally let them dictate what they wanted to do. We were putting pucks on their stick in the slot with no man on them. And these are veteran hockey players, so that's going to clean itself up. It's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating for the player to make that type of play, but sometimes you grip it too tight.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're trying so hard that you're making mistakes instead of just letting the game come to you. And I think you're seeing a little bit of that. But it's not like systemically we're doing anything that's separating us in a bad way from teams. It comes back to the timeliness of penalties, the timeliness of when a team is pushing back on you, do you have the ability to push back on them? Are you physical? Are you, I don't feel like on Saturday night we touched a single guy. I haven't looked at the analytics yet. I haven't brought myself to look at that yet, but I don't know if we touched a single body besides Kupel in the third period. So you're not going to win a whole lot of hockey games that way. So I guess what I'm getting at is we have to continue teaching, continue coaching. They need to have a little bit of success so they can feel it and taste it. But the only way that's going to happen is to work through it and to do it together, stay connected, do it as a group. And if we do that, there's a lot of good teams in this division again. It's going to be a free-for-all this year, so you're not going to win every night. But you know what? You have to have the effort every single night, because the next week comes and you don't have the effort on this weekend, you're not going to find it next weekend. Right. So it has to be consistent.
Well, and that brings us to next weekend. Of course, Austin right now on top of the division with 10 points. Bismarck with 10 after they swept North Iowa. St. Cloud with 8 points, then the Wings with 7. Minot has 6, North Iowa with 2. Now Minot has played 4 games, the showcase, like the first 2 weekends off completely, which is kind of baffling to me. I wanted to ask you before we get into Minot, as a coach, and I'm not asking you to speak for Minot, of course, but if this was your team and you had 2 weekends off, does that help you with the time on the ice that you're able to work and practice and so on? Because it's hard to replicate game speed, game situations, and so on, and when you don't have them and everybody else in the division is playing them. I feel like that's kind of detrimental. Or is that something that, as a coach, you can embrace?
Well, I think it depends on the time of the year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that the beginning of the year is very conducive because you want to get your guys reps. Mm-hmm. You want to get them making mistakes where you can actually step in and help them correct them and they can learn. But, I mean, they're going to be well rested.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing for them, and it's their home opener, so they're going to be fired up. It's going to be packed there. I think they have a lot of stuff in their favor, and I think we do too. Mm-hmm. We're playing mediocre hockey right now, and I'm not afraid to tell the country that. And our guys understand that. So we should be going in there with an attitude and something to prove come Friday night. But going back to your question, I wouldn't mind that later in the year when you got some bumps and bruises.
Yeah, mid-season.
You need a little bit of break. But you know what, Cody does a good job. So I'm guessing they probably figured out a way to stay busy and to get better.
Sure. And I mentioned this, I think, during the broadcast on Saturday night when I was looking at the schedule and stuff, and I thought to myself, if I'm a player, I can't wait to get, for game time. So that, I would imagine they're going to come in with a lot of energy for sure. Again, from a video standpoint, you haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to see anything from Minot. What do you know of this team? What do you have to do?
Well, I mean, they're going to be hard-working group.
Yeah.
I mean, they always have guys that can score. We don't have a whole lot on them. We just don't, and they have a whole lot on us. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to put a lot of that aside and be ready to adapt really quick to what we need to do come game day.
Sure.
But it's kind of been that way all season. Is you don't have a lot on teams right now because of the change in the technology. So we're working every day to make sure that gets better. But we'll utilize what we can.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is to be ready to go when the puck drops.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that too about the technology, because I did want to mention to people, that I'm seeing a lot of messages and so on, about the frustration that people are having with viewing the games on NHL TV and so on. A reminder, folks, if you're watching this on a web browser, you have the home and away choice. On a Roku or a Apple device or whatever, you don't have that choice yet. Now, I've been told, to be patient. They're working through this, and some of these apps and changes are coming, and they're trying to improve it and increase the user friendliness, I guess, overall as things go on. So we appreciate your patience with that, and they're continuing to work with it and tweak with it. But all right, Coach. We talked about Minot. We talked about the weekend. I'll let you get going here, but as I always say, I appreciate you taking some time, and good luck against the Minotauros.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, we'll return with the second portion of Wings Weekly with a player coming up after this.
City Lights Bar and Event Center is your official home for the Aberdeen Wings. Stop down for an ice-cold beer or drink and choose from one of the many excellent food options on their menu, available for both lunch and dinner. And when your Aberdeen Wings are on the road trying to earn their way back to the Robertson Cup Championship, come on down to City Lights and watch the away games as the audio and video are streamed live. City Lights Bar and Event Center, the official home for the Aberdeen Wings on South 2nd Street, just south of the overpass in Aberdeen.
The second portion of Wings Weekly continues on as we broadcast from City Lights Bar and Event Center here on 2nd Street in Aberdeen, which is, by the way, your home for away games. I've heard nothing but good things about the way they've handled the away games Friday and Saturday night in St. Cloud. They actually have a big projector TV plus some big screen TVs. Food's been fantastic. Service has been great. So come on down. on when the Wings are on the road. Come down here to City Lights and watch the games. All right. Joining me now, as usual in the second portion, is a player. Now, I got to ask you. I asked you in Blaine at the showcase how you say your name, because I've seen pronunciation where it looks like it's Dybal, and then others where it's Dybal, and then but the guys call you Dybs or Dibs, and I'm going, well. So please say your name for me.
So it's actually Dybal.
Dybal. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've been going with, because I remember asking you that, but then, like I said, I get confused. But then it's the same thing with Bennett Kopel. You ask him, he says Kopel. Everybody calls him Coop, and I'm like, but where did they get Coop if it's Cope? But sometimes it's a mess. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Strava, Czechoslovakia?
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, yes.
Not
Okay.
anymore. Czechoslovakia.
I'm trying to keep up with all the world politics going on around here. Not Czechoslovakia anymore, Czech Republic. So I was looking through Elite Prospects. I'm kind of watching through your stats and your hockey career. This is the first time you've played out of Europe.
Yeah.
So what's that been like? Not even from a playing standpoint, but from just the whole culture.
It's awesome here.
Yeah?
The fans are awesome. Everything I feel like it's getting doing for us, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, but I mean,
Really?
food-wise, I always hear people from the UK and stuff. They're like, they don't understand when we say, oh, we drive 3 hours, 4 hours. They're like, what? We can cross 3 countries in Europe if you drive 4 hours, but not the case here. So there's probably a lot of things that are kind of new, huh? Food-wise, maybe even. I always love asking European players about food.
I love the food here.
Yeah?
Yeah, we got an amazing billet mom who is always
That's debatable, but
no, it's not. It's just how it is. She always cooks for us, and I love it. So, yeah.
Excellent. All right. So, when did you get started playing hockey? When did a lot of guys, wow, 3 years old, they've been on skates, whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And by the way, that was a joke. Heather is great. I'm just teasing. But so when did you start playing? And what?
It was about 3 years old
Yeah?
when I started skating. We went to this program for kids to learn skating, and one day my mom just went to pay it, and the guy told her to sign me into the hockey program, so I would learn skating even quicker and better. So that's how I started playing hockey.
So is there anybody that maybe was an influence early on in your life that, other than just kind of, that almost sounds a little bit randomly, like it was just something
it was random.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, my parents were the biggest support I had through my whole career, so.
How do you go? Were you a skate-out skater to start with, and then you kind of gravitated towards or found enjoyment in playing goaltender? Or how did the transition go to goalie?
I don't even know. I was pretty young. I was I don't even remember how young I was.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to try it, and the coach saw me in the net, and he was pretty good. So let's keep him there. So that's how I went into the net.
I always laugh because, this is almost embarrassing, but when I was playing, I loved the equipment. I'm not even gonna joke. When I was 7 years old, I was like, I want all that cool stuff. Give me this. So I tried goalie for a while, and I was like, yeah, I'm much better at left wing, I think. But I enjoyed the having all the mask on and all the cool, it just felt like it's embarrassing to admit, but it's true. And I was 7. So what do you want from me?
That's the best part of the season.
Yeah.
Just to pick your new gear up, and I love it. So,
yeah. New gear. Yeah.
New helmets coming up. So.
Gotta love that. All right. So we've talked some hockey here. I always try to, when I talk with players, it's kind of week in, week out kind of thing, but fans don't get a chance to really meet players as much, especially early on in the season. As the season goes along and you have more skate with the Wings, and you have the ringing the bell for the Salvation Army during Christmas time and all these different things, people have a chance to kind of get to know you guys on a personal level a little bit more. But let's talk a little bit about you. What do you like to do when you're not on the ice? Do you have any hobbies or any interests?
We play a lot of ping pong now because we have a ping pong table at our house, so we play a lot of ping pong. I love to go golf. we got a lot of guys this year who loves to golf with us, like, so we golf together all together, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So if you're putting a foursome together, it's gonna win a tournament, who's it gonna be? Who are the best 4 golfers on the team?
Best 4 golfers, I mean GK Grant Conan, he's pretty good. I did not see him play, but guys say he's really good, so I'm gonna go with him.
Okay, hey, take their word for it.
Reimer's pretty nasty too. And then my blood brothers, both of them, Riley and Luke Beck, so those are the 4 guys.
Bax can golf? There's nothing about him that would...
I mean, he's trying.
He's trying. Like, there's nothing about that kid that says to me, oh yeah, I'm a golfer. Anyway, that's great. Oh, yeah, he's trying. I love that. All right, are you, we talked hockey, and I'm jumping back into a little bit here. Over the weekend, of course, you guys end up splitting. You play both games. Some huge saves. As Coach Langer said just a minute ago, you made some saves that you had no business making. One of which was, I think during the broadcast I was trying to call it acrobatic, but then I was like, it's not really acrobatic, but it was like a trick thing where you caught it behind. You see that many shots, and you guys were outshot pretty dramatically, as we talked about. That's no secret. We know that. Do you, as a goaltender, like having more shots? Or would you, does it kind of keep you in the game and focused? Or would you rather maybe have those 12, 15, 20 shot on goal kind of games?
I mean, for me personally, the 15 shots games are way harder than the 40 shots game. See? Because you're just standing there hoping to not get shot at all. And it's pretty awkward to be called there and like try to be in the game, and it's just harder for me.
I asked that question specifically because of that. I've talked to other goaltenders that always say it sucks when you're just standing there watching everything on the other end of the ice, and you don't feel like you're focused, you're not going, and you're not wired and adrenaline and stuff. But when you're getting shots on goal, that's another thing. Now, we don't want to be outshot that much, but again, some huge saves that you made. And oftentimes, like I mentioned, your initial save, and it ends up being a rebound or a goofy puck or a bad turnover or something where it's like, man, the guy, you were working your butt off. So going to, again, I guess, jumping back away from hockey in a sense, we talked food a little bit. If you could build your meal, I always say death row, but that's kind of a bad example, but if you could just build your meal, whatever it is, from appetizer to entree to dessert, whatever, what are your favorite foods? What are you going to do?
I love Heather's chicken sandwiches. They're awesome. I like tacos too.
Tacos, yeah.
Tacos, yeah. I would eat like loads of that. So like 3 chicken sandwiches, 4 tacos, and I'll be good.
Got a healthy appetite. All right, how about a dessert? You gonna throw in some cake, or you gonna go cheesecake, maybe ice cream? What kind of?
Chocolate lasagna.
Chocolate lasagna?
Yeah, that's Heather's part.
That's got diabetes
awesome.
written all over it.
She's awesome. She's awesome.
She's awesome. Diabetes all over it. All right. So if you could have a superpower, what would it be? You're going to be able to run really fast, you're going to fly, you're going to be invisible, read minds, whatever it is. What's your superpower?
The tingle thing from Spider-Man.
The what? Dangle thing?
Yeah, like the Spider-Man always... No. He always knows what's coming up, so it's like...
Spidey sense.
Spidey sense, yeah. They call it tingle in the movie.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Okay. Spidey sense. All right. Let's see, we've got Minot coming up here. Like I always tell the players, and of course I tell Coach, I know you guys are busy, and especially, you have practice and you're coming off a weekend, whereas travel and you're kind of getting your schedule back together. So I always appreciate you guys taking some time to join us and letting people kind of get to know you a little bit and see behind the visor and the mask. Speaking of which, kind of crazy to see your mask go flying up through the air, and I see the trainer come over and I'm looking at you going, oh man, is he cut? Is he? How did you feel after that?
I mean, it hurt. Yeah, I got like slashed right into my eye. But the first thing I asked was it a goal? And it was not, so I was feeling better then.
And it was not. That's good stuff. I know a lot of people worried, and it was great to see the St. Cloud fans give you a round of applause and stuff when you got up, because that's obviously a great show of sportsmanship for them. But it's a scary moment. You don't see a goaltender's mask go flying up in the air like that, especially with all the bodies in the crease, and you just know that that's a dangerous situation.
It was the first time that happened to me too. So
the first time I've ever seen it. All right, we've got Minot coming up. I talked with Coach just a little while ago about what you guys have to do. What do you think, from a player standpoint, when you're in the locker room with the boys and you're talking and stuff, what do you feel like you need to do against the Minotauros coming up in their building?
I mean, I think we need to score more goals than they do. That's all we need to do. It's just part of the hockey forever.
If only it was that simple.
If only it was that simple, yeah.
Well, that's a key, though. You gotta. I saw an interview like that not long ago. Well, what do you have to do to win? Well, score more than they do. Love that. All right. Well, again, appreciate you, Adam Dybal, coming on the show here, letting people talk or get to know you a little bit. So again, thank you very much. A reminder, folks, that coming up, the next home games, by the way, are at the ODI Center October 14th. That is back at home for the Sanford Children's Miracle Network jersey auction. So that's again on the 14th. The next games for the Wings are in Minot, taking on the Minotauros, 7:35 puck drop Central Time, both Friday and Saturday night. And again, we welcome you to come on down to City Lights Bar and Event Center, where they are showing the games, audio and video, both. If you're having trouble viewing it at home or whatever, come down here, have a fantastic meal, great service. City Lights Bar and Event Center is the home for all Aberdeen Wings away games. That'll wrap up this show, though. And again, thank you, Adam, so much for joining us. And thank you all for listening and watching. My name is Jay Kleinknecht, and that will wrap up Wings Weekly for this week.